Now the first thing we've got here down this side is we've got some lovely big pieces. This one here is quite nice. It's got really nice frosting on it, but you can see here very big chip out of this piece, okay, and the sides as well. That one's quite clear along the side, and on the back it's got a lot of chips. So I mean, that piece is really too big anyway, but because of all those imperfections, that wouldn't be something that I would consider using for jewellery. Then we've got this piece here. This is quite a lovely piece of sea glass. I really like it. You can see it's a lovely frosting. It's actually like a very deep green colour, and you can see that it was part of a bottle once upon a time, and it's been in the ocean for a while. Again, it's got cracks and things like that. I'd love to be able to use this piece in jewellery because that front has a lovely shape, but this just makes it really unusable, and it's quite heavy as well, so it's not a piece that you could easily use in jewellery. It's the same with this one. It's nicely frosted, only 1 or 2 chips, but it's a little bit awkward in shape. I mean, you may be able to use it, but it just won't have a nice look to it really. So those big pieces, nice to add to your collection, but probably not what you're going to be using to make your jewellery with. Then we've got pieces like these, and these ones, this is quite a lovely piece, and I wouldn't mind using this for jewellery, but if you turn it over, you can probably see there on the back there's cracks down along the length. Imperfections, there's some sand caught in those as well. I'd probably consider using this piece as long as the person who bought it realised that and was happy with those imperfections. It actually gives it a bit of a nice texture on the front with those cracks. Here's another small piece, again with those long vertical cracks. That makes it quite unstable too. You know, if this was dropped, chances are it would just shatter. And sea glass is just like any other glass, it's very fragile. I made a lovely piece, I'll show it to you, when I was first starting, this was quite a big piece, and this was just an experiment. Okay, I liked the colour and the shape, so I just used some copper, but I dropped it and you can see this big crack that's come along here, and I was very upset with myself, but that just goes to show you need to be very careful with sea glass, treat it delicately, and be very careful that it doesn't get damaged. Okay, so the next bit, we've got some interesting pieces here. This one, they've both got words on them. If you have a look at this one, I don't know if you can see, it says filled. And this one here, I was quite excited when I found it. It actually says glass. I don't know if you can see that at all. Just across here, glass. Piece of sea glass that says glass. I thought that was quite clever. Now both of these pieces I'm keeping simply because to add to my collection they have the words on them. As you can see, this is a very new piece of glass, sharp along the edges, okay, not something I would consider for jewellery at all. Here we've got some interesting patterned pieces, and you can see the lovely ribbing in this one. You know, it's the sides are imperfect, and that's probably why I wouldn't use it unless somebody again was happy with that. This one here is the bottom of the bottle. You can probably see that design there. Okay, it's got a bit of frosting, okay, but it's also got cracks and is quite new. And this one you can see was probably the top, the bottle of a bottle. It's got a little bit of a pattern here as well. This one I'd consider using because it's quite well frosted all the way around, no cracks. Okay, so that'd be a cute little piece to use there. So all of those pieces, okay, you wouldn't want to use. There's something wrong with them. Even these two here, and these are just some imperfect pieces there as well. These two here I quite love. This is a beautiful teal colour. Okay, it's almost a perfect triangle. But it's got a few little chips along the sides. I'd probably still consider using this one possibly, just because it's a rarer colour and it's quite pretty, but it isn't perfect. This one here, it's almost a black piece of sea glass, but it's actually, if you hold it up to the light, a very deep green. Again, it's got this chip in the corner here, which unfortunately is pretty much the one thing that stops it from being a really good candidate for jewellery. I would possibly use this. You could do something like have it up that way and wrap wire across the top so that that imperfection wasn't visible. Okay, so it would still look like a nice piece of glass. Now these ones down the side here, okay, these are all nice pieces. This is when you pick these up on the beach, you're very happy, okay, because they're all quite lovely. You can see they're all kind of a teardrop or triangle shape, the majority of them. That's a very common shape where I live. Here in Queensland you don't very often see the nice round oval shaped sea glass that you get in America and England. I'm guessing because we haven't been here as long and we don't have as much waste. So most of our pieces are more thinner flat glass, as you can see from the pieces I've made back here as well. Now, so what makes these great is they're nicely and smoothly frosted front and back. The sides are all smooth, okay, there's no cracks in the sides, and that goes for all of these pieces. So they're all lovely candidates. This is probably the nicest one, okay, it's a nice shape, sea foam colour, okay, and you've got the kind of range of colours here as well, with your whites, which are the most common, seafoam greens, some browns here and here and here, and some different greens as well. We've got a couple of kind of aqua and teal, which are a rarer colour here in Australia. Now, of these pieces that I've actually made, and some of these you'll see for sale at Aussie Designs, this one's a nice piece, okay, it's well frosted, it's all the way around, it's quite nice. There's a couple of tiny little chips, but really they're so small that you don't really notice, okay. And this one here, again, it's an unusual shape, but I've used it to make a ring, okay, and put that together. This one here is a lovely piece, lovely teal piece. Now on the back of this one there's a slight imperfection, but on the front it's quite lovely, well frosted, gorgeous shape as well, and so that makes a nice piece of jewellery. This one's an interesting one. It's quite thin and still relatively sharp, but again well frosted and soft edges, so that made a good piece as well. This one was quite nice. As you can see, it's got a texture to it, okay, so that's a good example of a nice piece of textured sea glass, you know, smooth around the edges. It's quite see-through, which is why I decided to wrap it in the way I did, so that there weren't lines of wire behind it. But that's cool. I love finding pieces like that that are really unusual. This one here is an example of using an imperfect piece of sea glass. Now, if you look on the edge here, there's actually a few, like these ones over here, a few cracks, and there's a few chips around the bottom as well. Now, normally I wouldn't use a piece with those sort of imperfections, but I really liked this particular piece of glass, and I thought I'd have a go at wrapping it, and it's come out looking quite nice, I think. And so, you know, sometimes you'll come across something like that. It is imperfect. I personally, as long as it looks nice and the person who's buying it is aware of the imperfections, you know, you take good photographs and that sort of thing, I don't really have a problem with using something like that. You know, these sort of things, you know, a piece like this, which is completely imperfect, it has no kind of symmetry or inherent beauty to it, unlike this, it's got a nice shape to it, you know, it's quite lovely. This is another one that has a little bit of a pattern. It has very slight cracks down that side, and it's got kind of a line across here that was in the original glass, and that gives it a bit of texture, so that's quite a nice little piece as well. So you can see there, you know, you want to look for that frosting nice and even. You want to look for a piece that, especially on the front, you know, has very few imperfections and it has nice smooth edges. Okay, when you've got cracks like this one, that's what you want to discard or just keep for your own collection. Same with the larger pieces. So thanks for watching, and hope you pop by etherealdesigns.com or aussiedesigns.com.